We're going to be covering, we're going to go a little bit deeper into what congruence means, and then what we can look at to be able to prove two triangles are congruent. So today's lesson is not really that hard once you figure it out. It makes things real easy. Now tomorrow we'll start on those shortcuts, and you'll have to memorize and remember some things on that. But it's not too bad. Now, we're going to talk about congruent triangles from a different perspective today. When we say two triangles are congruent, what we're saying is that all corresponding sides and angles are congruent. So the new word that we're looking at is corresponding. So when I correspond with somebody, okay, when have you heard or when have you seen the word correspond before?
I feel like we heard of it.
Like you correspond with something like your interaction.
I thought we heard about it.
Okay, so the interaction or the communication or the order of things. So when I say corresponding sides, they're the things that match each other. Now, we don't really look at pictures to be able to determine what is corresponding. In fact, pictures are things that we don't really want to rely on. Okay? You never want to be able to look at pictures and say they're congruent just because they look that way. The thing that's most important is this statement here. If this says triangle ABC is congruent to triangle DEF, then that's the most important part of this. Now, so when I write a congruent statement like that, triangle ABC is congruent to triangle DEF, you're writing the vertices in the order of the corresponding parts. So I can't just say ABC is congruent to FED or ABC is congruent to DFE. It has to be in the correct order. And the reason that is because now if I say line AB is congruent to blank, you're going to look at the position that AB is in. Notice that AB is in the first and second position of this triangle. So it has to be the same as the corresponding side on the other triangle. So if AB is in the first two places, it's the same as whatever is in the first two places over here. Not ED, DE. So AB is congruent to DE because they're in the same place. That's what corresponding means. So when I say angle A is congruent to what angle on the other triangle? D. Now, I want to bring up this point. Some of you are still having a hard time of differentiating the difference between what an angle is and what a side is. For instance, on that trig CFA, when it said the angle of elevation is 53 degrees, I don't know how many times I saw 53 written on the side of the triangle. Or if it says, what is the missing angle, of actually seeing people put down 11 inches. Okay? You need to remember that angles are always what's inside the triangle. Sides are what make up the triangles. So it's very important that we use this when we're looking at this during this lesson. BC. BC is located in the second and third position. So it's the same as EF. Angle B is congruent to angle E. AC is congruent to DF, and then angle C is congruent to F. So the corresponding parts tell you how to write the statement, what's equal to each other, all those things. And again, I'm not really going to reference the picture a whole bunch as much as I reference the statement. Okay? Now, there's two different ways that we look at this. Okay? Now, this is the least common way that we're going to see triangles. Sometimes the markings are going to be actual numbers. So in this case, it says triangle PQR is congruent to what? We know it's congruent to this other triangle, but you have to put it in the correct order. You can't just say TSU or UST. So what are you saying? Why are you saying TUS? Has nothing to do with rotations. Angle P is how many degrees? So it is in the first position, so the other triangle has to start with the angle that is 66 degrees, T. It then goes to Q, which is 85. So you go from T to U. And then finally R. So PQR is congruent to TUS. It has to be in that order. If you put it in any other order, it's incorrect. That's what corresponding means. What is the perimeter of PQR?
Several. Yes.
No, it's not several. What does perimeter mean?
Around.
So how far is it around
19
PQR?
inches.
19 inches.
19 inches?
So, if these two triangles are congruent, and one triangle has a perimeter of 19, the other triangle also has to have a perimeter of 19. So not only does the order matter, but you have to match those up. Now, here's the way you're commonly going to see the triangles match up. You're going to see these markings. Now, we haven't talked specifically about these markings a whole lot, but you've seen them before. Anytime we talk about sides, we use these little marks, 1, 2, and 3. So this matches with the marks on the sides of the other triangle. When we talk about angles, we use these arcs. So this says EFG is congruent to what? Look at the arcs on the angles. The arcs on E is 2. The arcs on F is 1. The arcs on G is 3. So it goes in the order of 2, 1, 3. So then you have to do the same order on the other triangle, N, O, M. So the markings to me are actually easier than the actual numbers.
Yeah.
They're more visually, I don't know, I see them a whole lot better than just looking at the numbers.
Yeah, like
But for the most part, you'll see these markings. Now, the type of questions that you see today.
Mr. Hurst,
Yes, ma'am?
can I have Aaliyah for checkout?
Yes.
Thank you.
The video will be uploaded for you, by the way. All right. So these are the type of questions you're going to see today. In the figure, triangle RST is congruent to triangle XYZ. Find each of the following if possible. So A says, what is the measure of angle X? What does X have to be the same as in the other triangle? R. Do we have a measure for R? So if I don't have a measure for R and I don't have a measure for X, then it's not possible to find that missing angle. I don't even have enough to use trig.
Oh yeah, because it's not right.
I guess I could use trig then.
tree.
All right. YZ, notice it's in the second, third position, has to be the same as
RST.
So what is ST?
15.
So that makes YZ 15.
Quite interesting.
5 inches?
The measure of angle T has to be the same as the measure of angle
Z.
Z.
47 degrees.
So that's 47 degrees. And then what is XZ? Okay, XZ is the same as RT. Do I have enough information? No.
Not possible.
So it's not possible.
I mean, you can put it
So smart.
Okay? It's not possible.
Nothing's impossible to put your mind in.
Nothing's impossible if you believe it.
My mom said